The story begins in a high school where the main boy is getting scolded by a girl for not wearing his uniform properly. He tries to defend himself, but the senior isn't convinced. She is well aware that he used the same excuse yesterday. At this point, even his excuses are asking for a vacation. The disciplinary committee president scolds him again, demanding to know how many times she's told him to fix his appearance. A few nearby boys watch in silent surprise as he boldly stands before the infamous demon president. But before she can finish warning him to look presentable tomorrow, he quietly slips away. She yells after him, frustrated that he's walking off before the conversation is over. It turns out the senpai is none other than the lad's crush, Ruriko. Despite the scolding, he feels oddly happy that she actually talked to him today. His love language might just be verbal humiliation, but his heart can't handle the overload, so he had to run from the scene. Still, deep down, he wishes he could talk to her again. He murmurs to himself, wondering if he should go back. Just then, his friend shows up and asks what Itsuki is doing standing around in the hallway. He responds with a greeting and dismisses it as nothing. But Kaiday points out that he was clearly thinking about the disciplinary committee president. He suddenly panics. How does he know all this? Kaiday points out that these are his daily talks. Hearing this, our boy launches into praise for Ruriko senpai, asking if she doesn't seem like a noble lady. Kaiday responds with a remark that completely contradicts him. So our boy shouts in disbelief, asking what Kaiday's even talking about. Itsuki calmly replies that her demeanor suits her perfectly. Besides, this is all part of the plan. He's deliberately standing out so she'll remember him, giving him a chance to talk to her. Kaiday tells him he's good-looking and should act more confidently. But our lad finds that intimidating, though breaking rules is an even bigger issue. Kaiday announces that class is beginning, so Itsuki sits quietly at his desk, thinking about how he fell for his senior at first sight. But he barely gets a chance to talk to her, and we know the scolding is disguised as conversation. He wishes he could get closer to senpai. Meanwhile, some girls in class notice his aura and seem impressed, but our boy is unaware, lost in thoughts of his crush. Suddenly, an idea hits him. If his current sloppy behavior isn't getting her attention, he'll take it further. The worse his discipline, the more chances he'll have to talk to her. He decides that starting tomorrow, he'll break even more rules. Nothing says romantic strategy like intentionally risking detention. Seeing his face, his friend instantly realizes from his eyes that he's planning something stupid. And just like that, the next day arrives. This time, Itsuki shamelessly walks through the lobby in a cardigan. Spotting his senior, he greets her with a cheerful good morning. She instantly sees he's ignored all rules and walks over. Itsuki feels glad. At least now she has to talk to him. But she scolds him, saying she thought yesterday's warning would change him, but clearly he ignored it. Now she'll deal with him her own way. She snaps her fingers, and two members of the disciplinary committee rush toward him, trying to forcefully make him wear a jacket. She's decided, this time she'll personally make sure he's properly dressed. Our boy puts on an innocent face and softly says that the cardigan is his favorite and he doesn't want to take it off. Hearing this, the girl from the committee suddenly stares at him, completely overwhelmed, and collapses to the floor. As the other committee boy steps closer, Itsuki gently grabs his hand. Somewhere in the distance, Cupid reloads his bow, thoroughly confused, and in the softest tone, says the cardigan means a lot to him, so he doesn't want to remove it. Hearing this, both of them start blushing hard, wondering how his face can look so sincere while saying something like that. After seeing our boy's cool and charming face, both committee members can't stop blushing, completely lost in thoughts about him. Meanwhile, Ruriko, clearly annoyed, says that she had planned a strategy meeting for this exact situation yesterday, but she never expected it to fall apart this quickly. Still, she knew from the start that handling him wouldn't be that easy. Just then, the bell rings and the girl's attention shifts back to where she was heading, while our boy's focus remains entirely on her. As she starts to walk away, he softly says that there's only a little time left to get to class. They might end up being late. He simply holds up the complaint paper in her hand and reminds her that being late is also a rule violation. Hearing that, his crush gets visibly annoyed and tells him that, in all this chit-chat, he's gotten a little too close to her. With that, she pushes him back, clearly irritated. She warns him that she's well aware of his feelings and knows he wants to resist. At that moment, Itsuki assumes that maybe senpai has figured out what's truly in his heart. The thought makes him blush hard. Just then, she calls out his name. She immediately presents a warrant in front of him and announces his punishment, 1 week of courtyard cleaning. As soon as she says it, silence falls over the area. She adds that she's already gotten permission from the teacher, so he better not even think about escaping. Jail time has never looked so romantic, except the jailer's his crush and the chains are emotional damage. She also tells him that if he finds the punishment too hard, he can simply start following the rules instead. But of course, there's no chance our boy would actually follow rules, so he accepts the punishment. After school, he shows up in the courtyard, but once again, he's missed his chance to talk to his crush. Just then, he hears a familiar voice. As he turns around, he sees his crush standing right in front of him. She explains that she wants someone to keep an eye on him, so she will be monitoring him. Now there's no chance at escape, not with his crush right there. Teasingly, he wonders aloud if maybe she actually just wanted a chance to talk to him. Seeing her angry expression, he quickly takes back his words. She informs him that they'll start with weed pulling. Just then, a thought crosses his mind. He should try talking to her about something. So he asks why she's working with him when it isn't even her punishment. She replies that, as a member of the disciplinary committee, she wants to help keep the school clean. The boy asks if she's really staying with him despite being so busy. This triggers her anger, and she snaps, asking if he knows whose fault it is. When he asks, she glares and tells him if he does, then he should just stay quiet and work. Her anger only makes him think she looks even cuter. As time passes, they decide to leave the rest of the work for tomorrow. Seeing how tired he looks, Ruriko senpai reminds him that this punishment will last a whole week, so he shouldn't be complaining. He shows confidence in his own stamina, but deep down he feels sad that even with all this effort, he didn't get much time to talk to senpai. Before leaving, she tells him that she'll see him again tomorrow. She walks away after saying that, but her words, "She'll see him tomorrow," stick in our boy's heart. He replays those words like they're part of a Grammy-winning love song. He stands there, lost in thought, replaying that one line over and over in his mind. He blushes deeply, thinking to himself that maybe tomorrow he'll get more time to talk to his crush. But caught in this same routine, the rest of their week slips away in work. Every day brings a new task, some new place to clean, something different to handle. Finally, the last day arrives, and our boy sees that the courtyard is completely clean. He gives all the credit to senpai for helping him through it. But she responds, saying maybe the real reason behind it all is his own diligent work. But she truly didn't expect it. His effort genuinely surprised her. Meanwhile, Itsuki was just happy for one reason. His crush was with him, so he even came an hour early every day. While they're talking, she suddenly spots something near the bushes. As she walks over and picks it up, it turns out to be a tie. Seeing it, our boy realizes it's his tie. She's surprised, but he explains that it fell when he was putting it on in class. Now the senior finally understands that he was telling the truth about losing his tie. Itsuki beams with joy, thankful that the tie is finally found. He sincerely thanks her, but then she softly calls out to him, asking if he can stay for a moment. Internally, his brain hits the fire alarm. Hearing that, Itsuki is caught off guard. He can't tell if she really means it or if he's just imagining things. She steps in closer, her expression unreadable, and gently begins putting the tie around his neck. His face instantly flushes deep red, as if the very air around him has been replaced with her scent, leaving him breathless and stunned. He calls out to her, but she softly tells him not to move. He stands frozen, overwhelmed by how close she is, his mind spinning with one panicked thought. What if she hears his racing heartbeat? His heartbeat is practically Morse coding a love confession at this point. And just as that anxiety peaks, he notices she's done. She steps back and says she's letting him go for today. But tomorrow, she wants him to show up with a new look, fixing himself. As she speaks, she gently pats his head, leaving him stunned. Then, without waiting for a response, she walks away, saying she'll be doing another inspection, so he better be ready. A while after she leaves, he remains frozen in place. Slowly, he lifts a hand to his chest, still overwhelmed. Today completely caught him off guard. His senior tied his tie for him. He gently takes hold of the tie, holding it like something delicate. His face burning, only one thought echoes in his mind. Senpai didn't fix anything today. She just ended up messing with his heart instead. The next day arrives. As soon as Ruriko spots him, irritation flashes across her face. He'd shown up in the same rule-breaking outfit again. She begins scolding him, threatening punishment. But before she can continue, he explains he left the tie at home, as a keepsake. Then softly, he asks if she'll tie it for him again, just like yesterday. She freezes. For a moment, her usual composure falters. Behind them, Other students overhear and gape in disbelief. Ruriko, flustered, suddenly bursts out, demanding he stop saying such weird things. Just like that, he's gone from school clown to public romance hazard. The next morning, he shows up to see his senior again. The instant she sees his messy appearance, she remarks on it. He apologizes quickly, but she firmly insists he fix it next time. Just as he opens his mouth to respond, she shifts her attention and starts reprimanding nearby students instead. Her focus changes faster than his courage can catch up. Left watching her take charge, his words fade unspoken. Later in class, he quietly confides in Kaiday. He wants to talk more with his crush, but she's always busy, and he doesn't feel charged enough. Kaiday stares at him, baffled, wondering what kind of weird battery metaphor that is. Somewhere, a therapist sighs and scribbles in a notepad. A group of girls suddenly call Kaiday over for karaoke. Watching him get invited so easily, our boy can't help but think Kaiday must be using some kind of hidden cheat code. Kaiday denies it. It's just regular stuff that made them friends. Itsuki mutters that Kaiday is a natural extrovert, always switching things up, even his hairstyle, while he can't think past his crush. When Kaiday mentions he actually liked the version of Itsuki from the entrance ceremony more, he gets flustered and scolds him for saying embarrassing things. Nothing stings quite like your best friend calling out your character development. Itsuki insists that if the inside stays the same, the outside shouldn't matter. But Kaiday can tell he's still struggling, and that's why he's asking for help. The realization quiets Itsuki for a moment, a hint of sadness in his eyes. Then Kaiday offers a reassuring nod, promising to figure out what she likes and help create chances for them to connect. Grateful, Itsuki gives him a heartfelt thanks. The next morning, as they walk together, Kaiday outlines the plan. Itsuki just needs an opening, maybe comment on something casual like an accessory. Once the conversation starts, he can guide it from there. Itsuki agrees it sounds solid. Just then, they spot Ruriko ahead on the path. Seizing the moment, Kaiday pushes him forward. Because real friends don't just give pep talks, they shove you straight into the fire. Ruriko immediately frowns at the sight of him, noting his sloppy appearance yet again. He stands there silently, unsure what rule he's broken this time. Eyes fixed on her, he zones out a little until she finally demands to know what he's staring at. An awkward silence falls between them. He's just unlocked the awkward silence boss battle. To break it, she suddenly raises her voice, demanding what's wrong with him. That's when he notices something near her hair. He says he couldn't find any kind of accessory on her. Hearing this, she throws a remark in anger about being the committee president. Meanwhile, Kaiday mentally notes this, and as Itsuki walks over and informs him that she wasn't wearing anything, accessory-wise. With an oddly positive tone, he tells his friend that it actually makes sense, given she's with such a practical-minded senior. Kaiday realizes he's happy with lack of info too. Kaiday suggests talking about something he likes instead and mentions a trending item Itsuki recently bought. Our boy pulls out his phone, shows an angry face sticker, and says it reminded him of his crush. Kaiday warns him not to say that to her, yet he walks straight to the senior and shows her the sticker anyway. She starts staring at him, and before she can answer whether she likes it, he lifts his foot to show socks with the same angry sticker. Kaiday finds the whole situation downright weird, while Ruriko, after a dumbfounded pause, mutters that they're actually kind of cute. She gently points out that while the socks are cute, they still break the dress code, and his slippers aren't proper. Itsuki falls silent and slips away, cheeks burning as he exhales sharply. Internally, he reflects that she looked even cuter than usual. Love stings, but not as much as getting called out in front of half the hallway. Once again, the opportunity to talk slipped through his fingers. Later, during lunch, Kaiday offers a suggestion. Bring up something she actually cares about, something he might pick up by listening to those around her. The idea catches Itsuki off guard. He realizes he never thought about it that way. Kaiday adds that, from the outside, he might seem like the type who talks to tons of girls, but deep down, completely hopeless. With renewed resolve, they head toward the third-year area. Two amateurs on a recon mission, armed with zero subtlety and way too much hope. From a corner, they watch in silence. Kaiday scans the scene and notes nothing unusual. Ruriko is, as always, scolding students mid-lunch before heading off to speak with a teacher about committee matters. Despite the crowd constantly around her, she tutors others without missing a beat. Her multitasking is so seamless, she could probably run the school and top the rankings. She's clearly lost in her duties. As the two boys linger, A nearby group of girls chats within earshot. One gushes about how cool Ruriko was today, while another admits she wanted to talk to her but couldn't find a chance. They call her an unreachable flower. Seeing how tightly scheduled she is, the boys decide it's best to back off. Meanwhile, the girls glance their way, whispering about the two unfamiliar guys who've been wandering around all morning. Kaiday notices more eyes drifting toward them and suggests they head out, but Itsuki gets distracted by a character on his phone, admiring the design, the hairstyle, the vibe. The resemblance makes him pause, and he mumbles under his breath that somehow, it just makes Ruriko even cuter. He's about 2 thoughts away from making a fan club application. That's when he feels someone behind him. They turn to find Ruriko standing there. Itsuki freezes, heart sinking. Did she hear all of that? She folds her arms and asks what they've been up to. Clearly aware they've been trailing her all day, she confirms she noticed, and now she wants an explanation. Cornered, he mumbles nonsense while Kaiday flails behind him, urging honesty. Flushed, Itsuki inches forward and finally admits what's on his mind. He wants to talk to her more and hopes it's okay to approach her like that from now on. Silence. Ruriko blinks, caught off guard, then responds with a calm expression. They already end up talking every day, don't they? Her tone feels like she's handing out a consolation prize. Behind them, Kaiday mutters to himself about how dense she is, not realizing the boy's intentions are anything but casual. Still, Ruriko assures him that it's fine to stop by whenever. She's just busy, she adds, because of her committee workload. That triggers a memory, the comments the other girls made earlier. Itsuki notices her eyes wander toward the window, a faint blush rising to her cheeks. With a softer voice, she admits she's glad he approached her directly, and that he's welcome to talk to her anytime he wants. That does it. Itsuki turns away, completely overwhelmed, one hand covering his mouth as he whispers a truth he's not ready to share aloud. He likes her. After a quiet moment, he finds himself walking back toward her again. Ruriko watches with a puzzled look and asks why he's returned so soon. From that point on, the rumors start spreading. Word travels fast. And just like that, the handsome first year becomes campus folklore. The next day, the moment Ruriko arrives, she's already on patrol, scolding students left and right about their appearance. Her intensity catches attention, and soon whispers ripple through the hallway. The general shared view? The disciplinary committee president is on a whole new level today. No wonder she's earned the nickname, the Demon of Discipline. Yet to Itsuki, she seems more fired up and cute than usual. Before he can dwell on it, she spots him. With sharp eyes, she strides over and orders him back to class. Caught off guard, he steps closer. A little surprised she noticed him in the crowd. She responds with a cool glance. Her eyesight doesn't miss much. That's when it hits him. He has split ends today. Not the rule breaking, but the possibility of being silently judged sends a chill down his spine. All he can do is request her not to inspect too closely, and she agrees. As she begins to walk off, she reminds him that homeroom is about to start, and he should hurry. But just before she disappears around the corner, Itsuki calls out. Her steps halt. He admits he wants a bit more time with her. The sudden honesty makes her pause, memories of their last interaction rising to the surface. After a moment, she agrees she'll stick around until the bell. Itsuki suggests they head to the classroom together, seeing as they're already here. She hesitates, bringing up her patrol duties as an excuse, but he brushes it aside and gently pulls her by the arm. With that bold move, he speed runs into accidental romance jail. As they walk, Ruriko suddenly slows and asks where the floral scent is coming from. The moment he's been waiting for, Perfume Showdown, School Edition. With a grin, he shares that he switched perfumes today. She narrows her eyes, unimpressed. If he has time for perfume changes, she mutters, he should have time to arrive earlier. He fires back, saying self-presentation matters. From her perspective, it's ironic coming from someone who's a walking violation wrapped in rose mist. Before he can respond, she starts walking again, insisting they'll be late otherwise. Trailing behind, Itsuki starts thinking back to when he first bought that perfume during a viral online trend. She glances back, noticing he's lagging behind, stuck in his thoughts. With a subtle tilt of her head, she gestures for him to follow. Before class begins, she brings up the perfume again, this time more directly. Wearing strong scents to school isn't necessary. Itsuki guesses she's not a fan of heavy fragrances. She asks how he figured that out. He shrugs. It just felt like something she'd think. The boy has officially weaponized his imagination, and she's the unknowing target. She reminds him again that school isn't the place for that kind of thing. That's when he pulls out a handful of small perfume bottles, each one carefully chosen. He casually mentions that he thought these might suit her. The color drains from her face. Just how many is he carrying? Reassuring her, he explains they're all unisex, so there's no issue if he keeps them. Still, Ruriko can't shake the thought. Why is he acting so strange around her today? Before she can ask, he presents another bottle and wants her opinion on it. She glances at the bottle and admits it looks cute. But the moment the words leave her mouth, she notices a change in his expression. His weirdness level just leveled up. Trying to recover, she insists it's not like that. She only meant the design was nice, not that she has a thing for this sort of stuff. Unfazed, Itsuki sprays the perfume on his arm and holds it near her. She leans in for a sniff and instantly blushes. Her composure cracks. Catching feelings was not on today's agenda. She clears her throat and admits it's not a bad pick, but not for school. Encouraged, Itsuki starts digging through the rest, wondering which one fits her best. He offers to give one to her. That's when she freezes again. She's the head of the disciplinary committee. Accepting a gift like this crosses lines. Her heart may be staging a quiet rebellion, but her job hasn't resigned yet. He suggests that if she hides it well, no one will know. She shoots him a look. Is he really suggesting this to the president of rules? Without another word, Itsuki gently presses one of the bottles, his favorite, into her hand. No grand gestures, no speeches, just quiet intent. He leans in and tells her, from this moment on, it's hers. Then he bolts. Gone in a flash, like he just confessed during a fire drill. The bell rings. Ruriko stands frozen, eyes on the bottle in her palm. Late or not, her mind lingers on the moment that just passed. Lunchtime rolls around, and Itsuki finds himself overthinking. Did he come off too strong? Maybe if he'd offered the perfume more formally, she would have turned him down. Now he just hopes, really hopes, she ends up liking it. As he turns a corner, he spots her, standing by a teacher, holding boxes. The coincidence stuns him. He had just been thinking about her, and here she is. A sign? Maybe. He approaches and asks where she's taking the boxes. She replies she's heading to the staff room. Without missing a beat, he volunteers to help. Before she can respond, he spins a story, claims a teacher asked him to assist. Bold move, considering he hasn't done homework since middle school. Somehow the lie holds, and she hands the boxes over. They walk side by side. Still, to Itsuki, the distance between them feels too wide. She brushes it off as his imagination, but he senses something off. Ever since that moment earlier in the hallway, she's been acting a bit different. The way she glanced back at him, the way she paused when he spoke, and now as they head down the hall together, he quietly wonders what that shift really means. Though a bit hesitant, he finally gathers the courage and asks if she's upset about what happened this morning. She pauses, looking uncertain, so he adds, maybe the perfume bothered her. Suddenly, she shouts that it's nothing like that. She denies it so loudly, even a crow mid-flight reconsidered its route. Hearing this, Itsuki freezes, slightly nervous, while his crush slowly begins to blush in front of him. She mentions the scent, and as soon as Itsuki hears it, he asks if he smells bad. She replies that it's nothing like that, but she felt he gave her that scent because he was being a little considerate toward her, and maybe that's why. But Bro calmly explains that he simply thought the perfume would suit her. That's the only reason he gave it. His crush confirms it with a nod, and Itsuki gazes at her for a moment before telling her the perfume is bright and refreshing. And whenever he thinks of it, he remembers her. She looks away slightly flustered and softly says that she understands now. But Itsuki adds one exception. He says the perfume doesn't suit her more than her own natural calmness. She, now a bit suspicious, asks why he's saying all this. He tells her he feels her own scent is better than the perfume's. That makes her even more confused, and she angrily asks if he's been checking her scent this whole time. She sounds more like a detective interrogating a perfume thief. Boy quickly clarifies that she's taking it the wrong way. He didn't mean it like that. Ruriko then tells him that if his only reason for giving the perfume was because it suited her, then she has no issue with it. Itsuki asks if she liked it, and she replies that it matches her preferences. A compliment like a wine critic, but blushing. He says he has a few more recommendations, but before he can finish, she stops him, saying she'll choose for herself. By then, they reach the staff room. Itsuki adds that enjoying perfumes in moderation is a good thing. And just then, Ruriko happily tells him that she actually prefers the perfume Itsuki is wearing himself. Hearing that, Itsuki simply turns to her and silently gazes at her. Just then, Ruriko tells him she appreciates his help, but she'll be heading off from here. Meanwhile, outside the staff room, Kaiday is looking for him and asks what he was doing inside. But before he can reply, our boy asks how he smells. He skips the small talk and goes straight to sniff check. His friend answers that the morning fragrance must have faded by now, and Bro is thinking the exact same thing. Blushing deeply, Bro thinks maybe Kaiday is right, maybe his crush actually complimented his body scent. Later that night, Ruriko finds herself impressed by the perfume, realizing she can even use it on her bookmark. Who knew romance could smell like chemistry notes? That moment alone sends a wave of warmth across his face. In that light, she feels more like an angel than anything else. But she straightens up again and reminds him that break time is over. Itsuki groans, realizing he's forgotten everything he knew. Maybe she really is a demon after all. As the study session continues, both of them grow quiet, focused. Itsuki feels drained, but Ruriko remains steady, guiding him through the material. It strikes him, despite being from different years, they're here, together, alone in a quiet space. There's something strangely magical about it. The more he learns about her, the deeper his feelings grow. Fueled by hope, he starts tackling every question seriously, hoping she might praise him. But then, just as he looks over, he sees her eyes gently closing. Moments later, her head rests lightly against his shoulder. His pencil slips from his fingers. Time stands still. His entire body heats up, not from stress, but from the sheer disbelief that his crush is now leaning on him. He stays frozen, afraid even a breath might wake her. She mumbles softly in her sleep, but relaxes again. Watching her rest, he realizes, behind her strength, there's exhaustion she never shows. He leans closer, hand covering his lips, and whispers a quiet thank you. For everything she's done, for simply being here. Suddenly, the door swings open. Mao steps in, startling them both. Ruriko jolts awake, surprised to see her. Mao casually explains she's just locking up as part of her committee duties. She strolls in like a final boss on a side quest, nudges Itsuki, and he mumbles something, pretending he just realized it's time to go. As they leave, Mao glances at him with a knowing look. She had seen Ruriko resting on his shoulder. It didn't need words. The blush on his face said everything. With a soft smile, Mao walks on. So that's how it is. The next day, Kaiday is surprised to see our boy at school so early. He stares at him, puzzled, and asks what he's doing at this hour. His brain is not ready for this early drama. Itsuki, a bit shy and blushing, admits he came early just to see his crush, as they can meet daily. Kaiday, curious, leans in and asks what the reason behind this sudden effort could be. He tells his friend that he should already know. It's disciplinary enforcement week. That means all the committee members will be extra active throughout the week, and because of that, he might get more chances to run into his crush. He happily says that's exactly why he came well prepared today, and he even has plenty of conversation topics. Kaiday tells him he might be the only one in this world who's happy because of this. He wonders if love makes people this weird, and Itsuki cheerfully says he might get more chances to talk to his crush. Just then, Mao suddenly calls out to him from behind. Hearing her voice, Itsuki suddenly gets surprised and turns around, asking what she's doing here. She walks up to him and says, "Good morning." Kaiday, confused, asks who she is. Bro explains she's actually his crush's childhood friend. The girl then steps closer and tells Itsuki that Ruriko is really busy today. As he can probably see, she's dealing with different people every second. Itsuki watches in amazement as Ruriko senpai moves so fast, she almost looks like a blur. It all feels kind of cool to him. But Mao explains that because Ruriko is so busy today, she'll be the one checking on Itsuki instead. She steps closer and starts observing him. Itsuki nervously asks if she's getting a little too close. She replies that he's just imagining it. Then, in a playful tone, she resumes checking him again. She playfully winks and says she's just deducted 3 million billion points from Itsuki. Flirting or emotional destruction? It's really hard to tell. He stares at her, stunned. Just then, Kaiday steps forward and asks if she's even a real senior. Bro is about to file a complaint with reality. Mao coolly replies that she's deducting his points too, and she'll mark it in her report. If he talks to her like that again, it won't end well for him. Kaiday turns away and quietly says he'll report her threats to the teacher. And here even jokes become legal concerns. Mao quickly changes her tone, claiming they're excellent students and there's nothing to worry about. Then she suddenly grabs Itsuki's hand, pats his head, and calls him a good boy. Confused, he wonders what just happened, until Ruriko calls out from behind. Noticing Ruriko calling her over, Mao gives Itsuki a quick nod and heads off, promising to catch up with him later. Once she's gone, Kaiday turns to him, wondering aloud if he isn't planning to go talk to his crush as well. Even he seems tired of playing the background role. Itsuki, however, shakes his head, mentioning he doesn't want to get in the way while she's working. Since he knows this crackdown will last the whole week, Itsuki says he can meet her anytime later. Kaiday finds this calm tone of his surprisingly admirable, but in class, our boy spends the entire time sitting with a gloomy feeling. 4 days pass like this. Every day, he sees Ruriko too busy to even find a moment to talk. He decides that after class tomorrow, he'll finally go meet her. He heads out, but returns within seconds, telling his friend she wasn't there either. Kaiday tries to cheer him up. Itsuki tells Kaiday that Mao said Ruriko's been busy guiding her committee and enforcing rules, which is why he hasn't met her yet. Kaiday looks surprised at Mao's name, so Itsuki explains she's the senior they've been seeing a lot lately. Though she never showed up the mornings before, he wonders if she's just moody, just like the daily dose of unpredictability. But bro is thinking something else. He finds Mao super suspicious, always hanging around him with some excuse to talk. Seeing him lost in thought, Kaiday asks what he's thinking. He replies that he's noticed that Senior Mao has been giving him a lot of attention lately. Itsuki tells him maybe it's because she's on the disciplinary committee, maybe she's interested because of his looks, or maybe she's just an odd girl with her own reasons. Kaiday nods, thinking he might be overthinking it. But Itsuki knows he's recently broken quite a few rules, and that could lead to some trouble. But during all this, he drifts into overthinking. He wonders if his name has ended up on the offenders list of the disciplinary committee, and maybe that's why Mao keeps approaching him with some scheme. If that's true, he could be expelled soon. He tells himself he needs to get serious, but Kaiday tells him he should read less manga and get a grip on himself. Someone needs to uninstall main character syndrome. Itsuki says if this is true, facing the stress ahead will be tough. He stares at the desk and then slumps over. Even Kaiday now feels it might be serious. They need to act. Meanwhile, Mao tells Ruriko that waking up early has messed up her routine. But Ruriko didn't expect her to be this sincere with work. Then Mao adds that someone's been on her mind lately. Ruriko, surprised, asks who it is. The suspense is so thick you could spread it on toast. Mao claims it's Itsuki. An interesting guy. Ruriko starts thinking about him, remembering he's the one who breaks a lot of rules. Mao says he has his own style, and she noticed he didn't show up this weekend. It seems he's caught Ruriko's interest. She also adds that he is someone worth keeping an eye on. Mao clarifies she doesn't mean it as part of disciplinary duties. She shifts the conversation, wondering how Ruriko feels about Itsuki. For a moment, Ruriko remains silent. Mao continues, explaining it's just curiosity. She simply wanted to understand him a little better. With a glance, she asks again what Ruriko thinks. She takes a breath, admitting she isn't entirely sure. Mao responds gently, hoping Ruriko at least understands her feelings. And if she doesn't, that's okay too. With that, she turns and walks away, leaving Ruriko deep in thought, still trying to piece together what Mao truly meant. Not far off, Mao spots Itsuki. Catching sight of him, she walks over, wondering aloud if he's heading home. He nods, then glances toward the direction she came from, asking who she had just met. Mao brushes it off, just a casual meet-up, nothing important. Stepping closer, she mentions she was actually waiting for him. Itsuki freezes, confused by her sudden closeness. Then, without warning, she reaches out, gently holds onto the edge of his cardigan, leans in slightly, and, her cheeks faintly flushed, asks if she can borrow a moment. The cardigan has now entered the danger zone. The next day, Itsuki mentions to Kaiday that Mao-senpai has been cracking him up a lot lately. Kaiday freezes, blinking in confusion, his brain buffering like a school Wi-Fi connection. He presses for details, trying to understand if he's been getting close to her. Itsuki admits they've been chatting a lot recently. Kaiday, even more stunned, asks if they're even heading home together now. It's starting to sound less like friendship and more like a rom-com. Right on cue, Mao strolls in and waves Itsuki over to discuss the day's plans after school. They step aside, casually chatting while Kaiday glares from the background, clearly unamused. He announces that he'll wait outside the classroom, but Itsuki doesn't seem to notice. Alone in the hallway, Kaiday stares off, frustration bubbling. He's convinced his friend's been completely duped, and that he, Kaiday, failed in his sacred duty to keep him safe. That girl felt suspicious, and his idiot best friend was exactly the type to fall for trouble. Then another thought creeps in: there's still time. The situation isn't beyond saving. Operation Save the Simp is officially launched. He fires off messages to his secret group chat, requesting full surveillance. Before long, 3 trusted agents report back. One saw them at the station, another at a cafe, and the last claims they lived pretty close. Kaiday meets the group and thanks them. They reassure him, loyalty never sleeps, but even then, doubts continue swirling. Why were Mao and Itsuki hanging out so much? Were these after-school dates? He decides to confront the situation himself. Later, he walks up to Itsuki, who explains Mao invited him, but Kaiday insisted on tagging along for some reason. Kaiday coolly responds that he just wanted to hang out with his friend since it's been a while. Mao welcomes the idea, saying more people means more fun. With that, the 3 of them begin walking. Kaiday trails behind, determined to observe. Moments later, he spots Mao leaning in close to Itsuki, heads nearly touching as they whisper. Public whispering, a direct offense to all single people. He squints. What could they possibly be plotting? Mao, catching his stare, smirks. Instead of backing off, she presses even closer to Itsuki as she continues chatting. Kaiday's internal alarm starts blaring. Casual use of first names. Way too close. But when Mao brings up Ruriko, his ears perk up. He shifts in, ready to join the conversation. But annoyance soon takes over. Fueled by suspicion, he steps between them and inserts himself into the discussion. The thought keeps looping in his mind. Was Mao actually interested in Itsuki? But something felt off. She didn't flinch at the mention of another girl. No awkward pause. Nothing. Was she playing it cool or playing a deeper game? The group pauses near a claw machine. Kaiday lingers behind, quietly observing every word and gesture. For 10 full minutes, he watches as Mao struggles with the machine, failing over and over again. Even the employee looks like he's feeling secondhand embarrassment. On her 20th attempt, she groans and throws her hands up in defeat. She spent 2,000 yen with nothing to show. Itsuki gently suggests calling it quits, but Kaiday finally steps forward, unable to watch any longer. He steps up and offers to try. Mao warns it's not as easy as it looks. On his first attempt, Kaiday nabs a prize. Somewhere in the background, a mental slow clap begins. Itsuki stares, amazed. Mao is speechless. Kaiday shrugs, mentioning he's played plenty before. Mao, recovering, claims she softened it up for him. She laughs, admits she was joking, and thanks him sweetly. Kaiday mutters a dry "you're welcome," but when she turns to show the prize to Itsuki with glowing excitement, he's visibly annoyed. It hits him. Why is he even enjoying this? Wasn't he here to supervise? The mission was slipping. Mao suddenly compliments Kaiday, calling him a great guy. He awkwardly responds, admitting he came uninvited and hopes they don't mind. She reassures him there's no need to worry, he's fine. But before he can say anything else, the two are already back to whispering and laughing again. His annoyance spikes once more. Suddenly, Kaiday jumps in with a loud declaration. He's finally picked what to order. Mao adds she's made her choice too. As Itsuki scans the menu, Kaiday and Mao lock eyes, silent, unblinking. Emotional arm wrestling at its finest. Itsuki, watching them, begins to wonder if they're about to start a fight right there at the table. A moment later, the waiter arrives. Itsuki offers to get drinks. When he asks Mao Senpai for her choice, she casually asks for a mix of everything. He freezes, completely thrown off. Kaiday mocks the choice, saying only kids order that. Mao shrugs. She always drinks it here. Kaiday wraps up the order while Itsuki asks if it's good. She asks for melon soda in response and thanks him. Itsuki then walks away, leaving them alone. Kaiday seizes the moment to speak finally. But before he gets a word out, Mao turns and hits him with a blunt question. Does he really want to come between her and Itsuki? He's caught off guard. She continues, pointing out how obvious and painful the situation has become. Kaiday stays calm, noting that she already knows how Itsuki feels about Ruriko Senpai. Why is she still getting so close? Mao admits it's true, but it's not like she forced her way in. In fact, Itsuki asked her to help him. Kaiday blinks. That part's news. She adds that Kaiday seemed completely on board, almost too enthusiastic. She grins, teasing that she found it kind of cute. Something about the way she says it makes him uneasy. Meanwhile, Itsuki returns with drinks and freezes when he sees the two deep in conversation. A faint blush colors his cheeks. Nervously, he asks if Mao-senpai spilled everything. She admits she did. Kaiday was way too worried. Immediately, Kaiday grabs his friend by the collar and yanks him close. With narrowed eyes, he demands an explanation. Cornered, Itsuki finally confesses. He and Mao-senpai had been plotting together to get Ruriko to agree to a date. Kaiday's eyes widen as he processes the revelation. Mao adds that despite how loud and flashy he acts, Itsuki's actually super shy. He blushed like crazy when she asked about Ruriko earlier. Kaiday slowly realizes this alliance has been going on since Crackdown Day. He turns to Mao and asks why she's gotten so close to him. She grins, saying it was fun using Kaiday as a decoy. That alone kept the plan running longer than expected. Itsuki, still flustered, asks if they were really that close. Mao nods. They become good friends lately. Teasing Kaiday, she admits pretending to be close with Itsuki just to mess with him was too entertaining to resist. Irritated, Itsuki tells her to quit playing around, but she only smirks and leans in again, clearly enjoying the chaos. Kaiday, still upset, demands why he was kept in the dark. Itsuki explains that he wanted to surprise him, and because Kaiday's always had his back. Kaiday scoffs. Well, mission accomplished. He's very surprised. Seeing how riled up he is, Mao picks up a teddy bear from earlier and squishes it against his face with a grin. She holds it up to Fuga-kun, claiming it looks just like him, grumpy and dramatic. Then mimics his pout, trying to lift the mood. Kaiday, still sulking, snaps at her to stop joking like that. Mao leans back, sips her drink, completely unbothered. The next day, Ruriko notices Fuga-kun glaring sharply. When she asks what Mao did to him, she says it's nothing, but finds him cute. The next day, while eating together, Mao asks Itsuki why he's dressed so sloppily, looking like a laundry basket lost the will to live. Kaiday wants to know the answer too. He responds that he knows a serious president of the disciplinary committee will eventually end up with a delinquent guy. But both of them remind him that such things only happen in manga. In reality, Ruriko is a dense person. He'll have to talk to her directly. The next morning, spotting the right moment, Mao greets the boys. Kaiday also urges him, saying he needs to show some courage and speak directly. Gathering himself, Bro walks up to his crush and tries to say something, though he starts hesitating quite a bit. Under tension, Itsuki starts behaving like a robot. His emotional software just crashed mid-sentence. Ruriko grows confused, wondering what he's even doing. In truth, a major error hits Itsuki.x-. He just can't figure out how to talk straight in front of her. Shy and overthinking everything, he spirals. Just then, Ruriko calls out to him, noticing him acting weirdly. She asks what Mao and Kaiday are doing since the two are actually fighting, still arguing about that claw machine incident. He explains that the three of them had recently hung out, and in the end, Mao ended up the loser. Hearing this, Ruriko looks a little concerned. Seeing Ruriko's expression after hearing about the hangout, Itsuki is surprised. Behind him, Kaiday and Mao whisper to each other, noticing that Ruriko seems to be feeling lonely. They agree. This is the perfect moment to ask her to join them next time. As the two silently watch, Itsuki's heart begins to pound wildly in his chest. Itsuki just can't gather the courage to speak. At that moment, Mao suddenly steps in from behind and whispers to Ruriko that they should all hang out today. Watching this, Kaiday also appreciates Mao's assist. He walks over to Itsuki and tells him straight up that he's seriously a scaredy cat, right when he is already drowning in nervousness. After that, Mao drags them all out of school. It's the first recorded kidnapping with snacks included. Even Kaiday is surprised that Ruriko, the president of the disciplinary committee, came along. She waves it off, mentioning that she and Mao hang out often, though she has a curfew. Mao mentions Ruriko's overprotective older brother. Then, with excitement, she leads them back to the same gaming center, mentioning how Ruriko has been wanting to go. Itsuki, curious, asks if it's her first time there. Ruriko shakes her head and casually mentions she comes daily. Turns out she's a serious gamer. The real boss fight was the class rep all along. Mao quickly fires back, insisting Ruriko doesn't know that much. With everyone hyped, they enter the arcade and agree to play in pairs. Kaiday joins Mao's team, while Itsuki teams up with Ruriko's senpai. As the game starts, Ruriko gives Mao's group a hard time. Itsuki can't help but praise her skills. Ruriko explains with pride that quick reflexes were how she earned her role as the disciplinary committee president. Itsuki beams, calling her cool. Meanwhile, Kaiday finds an opening and lands a goal, making Mao cheer loudly. Ruriko nudges her teammate, reminding him to stay focused. That gets him to buckle down. Watching him, Ruriko finds herself thinking that Itsuki's unpredictability is impossible to understand. Still, Bro racks up points and secures the win. As promised, the losing team handles the juice run. Mao turns to Kaiday and insists he's the one who should go. Clearly, she's assigning him group servant duties today, and no one objects. Itsuki practically glows with victory. His crush gives him a bright smile, and as their eyes meet, he suddenly notices how close they'd gotten. Ruriko takes a quiet step back, but for Itsuki, her smile alone feels like a reward. On the other side, Mao strolls up to Kaiday, all fired up, and declares she's ready to settle an old score. She challenges him to a claw machine rematch. Kaiday agrees without hesitation. The two take off like rival athletes, full of competitive energy. Watching them from a distance, Itsuki starts to realize how naturally those two have grown closer. Ruriko mentions she wants to take a short break. Itsuki jumps at the opportunity. He shows her his grade sheet and thanks her, crediting her influence for his top 10 score. Her face lights up. Then, with a bit more courage, he shares that there are lots of things he's been wanting to talk to her about. Ruriko raises an eyebrow and asks what kinds of things. He explains that school never gave him the chance, but now he'd like to spend time with her just to hear her thoughts, see her reactions, and get to know her better. The words hit gently, and a soft glow enters Ruriko's expression. Itsuki realizes these were the feelings he could convey for now. Just then, she leans in slightly and admits there's something she's been wondering too. He freezes as she asks his opinion about her. Panic flickers across his face. Had she figured him out? Ruriko remains calm, asking for the truth. His mind scrambles. He stammers that she's like a role model to him, gentle and admirable. But deep down, he knows that isn't the full truth, so he flips the question, wanting to know what she thinks of him. Ruriko stays quiet for a beat, mentally sorting through the answer. Eventually, she admits that he's the first junior who has ever ignored her warnings. A little awkward, always a bit too bold, but because of that, her strict resolve has got stronger. Lifting her finger, she points close to his face, half serious as she warns him to be ready, because she doesn't plan on letting go that easily. It sounds like she's giving him a side quest, one with real stakes. Itsuki stands there stunned. This was exactly what he wanted. He wanted Ruriko to challenge him, guide him, even correct him. Though part of him secretly wishes that feeling never fades. He grins and meets her gaze. Bring it on. Her lips curl into a smile. He walks closer, asking the reason. She teases, saying it's nothing special. But deep down, he knows she has no idea how much it actually means. Just then, Kaiday and Mao return. Mao looks defeated, announcing she got completely destroyed in the claw machine showdown. A moment later, the duo returns. Mao suggests a group photo since it's their first proper hangout. They all squeeze into the photo booth while Itsuki hangs back, eyes still on Ruriko. He asks if she had fun. She crosses her arms, a little annoyed, and admits that coming out like this wasn't so bad after all. Looking at her, he catches himself thinking, maybe someday, just the two of them could come here together. Right then, Ruriko notices something out of place. She steps in close and starts adjusting Itsuki's uniform, reminding him that even outside of school, appearances matter. From nearby, Mao calls out, telling them to stop flirting already. She's been third-wheeling so hard, she deserves her own subplot. Both Itsuki and Ruriko jump, hurriedly denying it. But while they're flustered, someone else is watching. Unseen, a pair of sharp eyes observes from a distance. He zeroes in on Ruriko. What is she doing here? And who is that flashy guy with her? Are they on some kind of night outing? He narrows his eyes. If anyone disrupts public order or dares get too close to his sister, they're in for a reckoning. And that someone lurking from the shadows is none other than Ruriko's older brother, Fuji Kinosuke, because every rom-com needs one overprotective sibling with main character energy.